Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Pan IIT 2020 Global Summit Track 2 session. Our topic is becoming go-to-market ready in experience economy. Today, we have Nishant Mungali from MindTickle. He's a co-founder and the chief product officer. He takes care of all the things product related in MindTickle. He leads a team of product managers, designers, data analysts, and product operation managers. He's passionate about technology, AI, music, neuroscience, positive psychology, and philosophy. I'm Sheila Basu. I'll be your host for today. Nishant is going to talk about a quick introduction to experience economy that has created the most successful companies like Apple and Amazon. He will also touch upon why this matters to B2B software organizations' growth and success, and why they need to embed the culture of readiness into the GTM strategy for high quality and consistent customer experience. Nishant, over to you.
Hi, thanks a lot, Sheila, and really excited to be here. Thank you, everyone, for attending this. Let me quickly share my screen. So yeah, and hello, everyone, and thank you so much, Sheila, for the introduction. In my 25 session, I will be talking about becoming go-to-market ready in experience economy. And just before that, I would actually like to thank you, everyone, and I'm really excited to be MyTickle is very excited to be a gold sponsor of the very first virtual global conference organized by IIT alumni. And congratulations, kudos to to all the organizers, sponsors, and attendees for making this a success. Great, and I will be taking all the questions towards the end of the session. So let's get started. So about a century ago, the companies with the largest market cap were the ones that controlled the most valuable commodities of the world, like steel, oil, spectrum, and food. Fast forward by 50 years to late 1960s, the leaders of the Wall Streets were the companies that produced the best-in-class goods and services. This was the era of product innovation and mass manufacturing, and these companies focused on producing and distributing high quality goods in large numbers. Now, fast forward to today, the top 5 companies with the largest market cap of hundreds of billions of dollars are all technology companies, and each of them are in the business of creating experiences, moreover, personalized digital experiences. Today, people's demand for personal and memorable experiences is driving the growth in GDP, not just in the developed countries, but in the developing countries as well. And not just in the consumer world, but in the enterprise world as well. This is a modified version of an illustration that was presented by Joe Pine in a TED Talk about experience economy in 2017. Joe and James Gilmore used the term experience economy for the first time in a 1998 article describing the experience economy as the next economy following the agrarian, the industrial, and the most recent service economy. This illustration beautifully explains the economic value of experiences. The commodities like coffee bean cost 5 cents per cup of coffee. But when these beans are customized into a product that can be purchased off the shelf, they move up in the value chain, and the same coffee now costs thrice as much per cup of coffee. When this product is further customized through services in a restaurant, it costs $2, which is 40 times the original cost of the coffee beans. And when this service is customized further to the preferences of a user to create a personalized and memorable experience in coffee shops like Starbucks, the same coffee now costs $4. This explains that experiences are at the top of the value chain and drive demand and growth across the world. Similarly, Amazon turned a logistics service into a magical e-commerce experience. Apple turned personal electronic products into most desirable digital experience. Uber, Airbnb, Zoom, Spotify, all these household names, they took a commodity, a product, or a service and moved it up the value chain through customization and personalization at scale to create enormous value, which illustrates that experiences are at the top of the value chain and are driving the economic growth. This is There is another very distinct advantage of experiences, which I'll not go into much detail, but I'll leave you with that thought. By definition, experiences are unique, personal, and memorable, and provide a distinct competitive advantage that the services and products cannot do. The modern workforce values experiences not just in their personal life, but work as well. And this is what I'm going to focus on my session today. The modern workers are looking for better work culture, fulfillment, happiness, and opportunity to rise to their fullest potential, to want to move beyond deficiency needs like food, water, healthcare, to higher needs like belonging, esteem, actualization through work. They are hardwired to use digital technology like social media, e commerce, online communities, content streaming to enrich their life experiences. And they have the same expectations from the business softwares as well. This rising expectations of the modern workforce is fundamentally changing the decision making of and the distribution of the B2B softwares. During the on-prem era, the technology giants like IBM and Oracle enjoyed a lot of control on the business model and distribution channel. With the rise of the SaaS, most software vendors had to adopt to the new license-based business model, and the power shifted to the executive buyers like CRO, CMO, CIO. Today, with the rise of the users, there has been a proliferation of the product-led SaaS B2B platforms like Slack, Zoom, Figma, who have disrupted their categories by focusing on the users' lives. They are introducing new go-to-market strategies, which has blurred the lines between the users and the customers. The users are becoming the new customers in the B2B world. In the experience economy, overall, brand experience is the new product experience. Just try to settle with this concept. The customers today expect personalized and seamless experience delivered digitally with as little interruptions as possible. And this is expected from all the teams in all the vendors' organizations. Uber, Amazon, Airbnb are great examples of consumer companies who excelled in delivering this expectation. Consumers expect the same with the B2B companies as well. Most successful B2B companies like Salesforce, Slack, and Zoom have achieved massive growth through simplified and seamless customer experience. This looks plain and simple, but then what is the problem? The way many traditional B2B software organizations are structured today, each team separately focuses on delivering personalized experiences by creating their own value chain. For example, marketing uses marketing automation technologies to streamline customers' value discovery journey. Similarly, sales team uses Salesforce automation technology to help customers during their buying journey to make a confident purchase decision. A lot of companies don't realize they are creating these experiences in silo. However, the silos destroy customer experience. A better way to deliver overall brand value to customers is to create brand experience around the life of the customers. This new brand experience has two essential components. First, all the teams work together to deliver seamless and digital brand experience along the journey of the customers. Second, the high value human interaction by customer facing teams to augment the digital experience and keep the customers moving along their journey. I would like to double click on this a little more. To become and stay go-to-market ready, the organizations need to invest in creating autonomous digital experiences, which is self-service and omni-channel, supported by teams in the background through real-time insights and collaborations, and must respect the and ensure customers' privacy and security. This alone is far from enough. This needs to be augmented and seamlessly integrated with quality human interaction. The customers should feel that they are just a moment away from their trusted partners. This requires high degree of readiness from all the customer facing teams. These teams need all the knowledge, skill, and insights to instantly understand customers' context, resolve challenges, collaborate with other team members, and keep the customers moving along in their journey. Just like the digital experience, the readiness of the customer facing teams also need to be consistent, no matter which team it is. It might seem that the complete automation of the customer experience will make the customer facing team's job redundant. However, that is far from truth. In fact, with the continuously rising customer expectations, productivity expectations, competition, technology, and their role in becoming their role is becoming more and more challenging and cognitive demanding. And now, with more and more users becoming customers, this is only going to get more complicated. While the quality of customer interactions may have decreased, the quantity of customer interactions may have decreased, the expectation to add value at each interaction has increased. Hence, the sellers need to do a lot of work to stay ready for every customer interaction. Besides this, they need to work in the background to facilitate personalization of customers' experience. This is a glimpse, as you can see in this page, is a glimpse of effort sellers need to make and technology they need to touch every day to stay customer ready. Currently, like their customers, their experience is also broken and they too need an integrated solution. And finally, the GTM leaders need to make culture of readiness a strategic priority to ensure their GTM strategy, uh, to ensure that their GTM strategy work like a flywheel. Data-driven comprehensive readiness is essential for GTM readiness. In today's unpredictable economic weather, it's difficult to predict where the wind will blow. The leaders need to invest in their team's core capabilities to be able to steer through any storm and stay ahead of the market expectations. There are many companies who have achieved this in a very short period of time by making readiness their strategic priorities. And most of these companies that you will see are the customer focused, customer obsessed companies who want to ensure that their differentiation always and always stay the customer experience that they deliver. So that was all I wanted to talk about. Here is just a summary of what I covered in this session. And after that, I would like to take if you have any questions. The first point that I spoke about is that we live in an experience economy with experiences at the top of the value chain. This is true for every industry, including the B2B industry. The users, secondly, the users in the workforce are the new customers. And fourth, the overall brand experience for every customers matter to create an overall differentiated value. Like every user that your product touch, you have to ensure that their experience is really wow. No longer can you focus on just the economic buyer. And finally, the readiness and digitalization along the customer journey is essential to achieve the complete readiness and ensure that your GTM strategy is successful. So that is it. And I would love to take if you have any questions.
Thank you, Nishant. That was a really interesting and eye-opening presentation about experience economy. I did get a couple of questions. One of the questions is talking about what what type of companies do you think are going to excel in this customer experience game, mainly the B2B SaaS companies. Do you have anything in mind? Anyone that you can in particular mention?
Yeah, like I spoke about some of the companies in my presentation. These are the product-led companies that are showing really good early signs.
Okay.
Companies like Figma, like Slack, which just got acquired, right? Like Zoom. I feel that this is just an early stage for some of these companies. They will grow even much bigger, and they will create much more valuable ecosystem out there, just because they are focusing so much on the experiences that they are creating, and there is almost no limit to it.
Okay. Good. Another question that is uppermost in a lot of people's mind is how this new startups should think about what stage of the economic experience economy they should go in. For instance, in the example that you gave about the coffee beans, the first type of customization gets you only 3 times. The next type of customization gets you 40 times, and then you suddenly jump like 80 times.
Yeah.
So is there a particular niche they should kind of figure out when they're starting, or do you think this kind of things will evolve and companies will find their niche once they start?
Very good question. I would say one way to figure out the niche is if you look at any let's say problem, and you see if there are any discontinuities in the user experience, right? If I'm trying to do something and but I am interrupted because the entire problem cannot be solved, that is where lies a room for you to start disrupting by bringing together the by solving the problem in a way that it produces a greater customer experience. And some of the examples of the new companies that you might see, like for example, I was giving Figma as an example, where the designers, they used to use multiple softwares, right, when they
Hmm.
collaborate on their designs, right? They used Sketch, then they used InVision, right? They would use, let's say, another collaboration software. But with Figma, they are able to do everything in just one place. So this company exploited the discontinuities in the user experience and brought it
Hmm.
together. It elevated the overall user experience. There's one more very important thing to note is, as we continue to move up the value chain, things start to become commoditized. Like for example,
Right.
human interactions, right, have been commoditized by these are experiences that have been commoditized by companies like Facebook, right? And it's become so easier for us to make connection, right, through Facebook or LinkedIn. But
Right.
now, right, now what they are doing is they're introducing new concepts of experiences. They are giving new ways for people to start connecting with other people. So they are continuously moving things up the value chain.
Okay. So how do you think this COVID-19 pandemic is going to impact this? I mean, a a big part of experience is a physical experience, right? So if I'm able to go to Starbucks, I'm able to sit there. Well, Starbucks is not a sponsor, but it's one of the companies comes to mind. That experience is not going to be the same as bringing that chai latte home and drinking in front of your TV, right? I mean, so how do you think this is going to change?
Well, I think it's a good question. Not an easy question to answer because it's very difficult to predict what the future will hold, right? As things are changing, but I think the companies will figure out a way to deliver the experience one way or the other. Um, and it could be, by bringing more and more autonomy in the experiences. When I say autonomy, like you remove touch points where you really don't have to interact with, somebody out there. You can just go in, probably in a cafe, you can do your work over there, in a very safe environment, take a coffee, have the similar kind of an experience without having to interact, or without getting exposed to any let's say COVID coronavirus. And in airports you're already seeing it, right? People are starting to fly, right, even despite the situation, because the airports have been able to bring in more autonomy in the entire experience, right? So
Mhm.
customers can just do it without any touch points. So that is what will start to happen more with this.
Okay, that's good. And another question that came in, which is a good question, is what kind of tools and technologies are available in the market to evaluate whether a company is in the experience economy and what part of the experience economy chain they're at?
That's There are no such tools actually. I have never come across those. One of the ways to look at it is by, let's say, reading their NPS scores, or by reading the reviews that their users give, right? You will realize that some of the companies, they do really a great job over there, right? And some of the companies are not really very good at that. That is, I would say there are surveys and there are some studies that are also published on the customer experiences by different analysts out there, that could also give a perspective of which of the companies are truly customer focused, which of the companies are lagging behind.
Sounds good. That's really interesting. And as an entrepreneur and as an alum of IIT Guwahati, I think that was one of the newer ones when it came around. What would be your advice to your juniors and other folks who are trying to get into the startup scene?
I think it's a very good time to get into a startup scene, especially if you are doing it in India. The ecosystem has become much more. It's flourished much more, right, compared to back then when we started. There is much more awareness. There is much more education, right? That there are more people you can work with. There are more people who are willing to take the risk. So for sure, it is a good time to start, right? So don't delay, I would say, right? If you can start on an idea, any idea is not a bad idea, right? As an entrepreneur, it just depends upon how well you execute and how much of a value can you provide with that. There are and I would say one of the ways to get started is like probably some of you are already working with your entrepreneur cell. There are these incubations, right, centers, or you could just join a startup and understand how that works. And through that ecosystem, since that is already there, you can learn how to go about having your own startup. The other thing that would matter a lot is having a good team. I would say really try to figure out people who you would love working with, because being in a startup is almost like working with a co-founder is almost like getting married to them, right? You're going to spend so much time with them, right? And that's very, very important as well. So your team, your idea, the ecosystem, all these things matter a lot.
Thank you, Nishant. That's a really eye-opening statement actually that you made. It's more or less like a marriage, and once you get in, it would be very difficult to get out of it. With that, we come to the end of this session. Once again, thank you, Nishant. I appreciate your talk, and I at Pan IIT 2020 definitely appreciates Mindtickle, whose sponsorship brought us this particular session. I hope the audiences enjoyed this. And don't leave. We have more sessions coming up. After this, you can attend Ajay Gopal's session on simulation and how it's affecting our world. Once again, thank you, Nishant. Thank you, our audience. And we'll see you soon. Take care.
Thank you, Shira. Thank you,
Bye.
everyone. Bye.